if they don't make it to the finals, then this might be one of the biggest L's in NBA history.
Hot topics.
Embiid never had the mentality to win a championship. I don't think he ever will win a championship.
The best analysis.
But Jokic, he might be the best player in the league this season. He really might be the MVP.
This is the Full Court Report.
And we're back. Another episode of the Full Court Report.
Yes, sir.
Episode number 5 of this 2025-2026 NBA season. How you fellas doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, we're doing good. How about yourself?
You know, I can't complain. The weekend that was watching my Denver Broncos, it was a short-lived celebration watching them win, and then minutes later to find out that our starting quarterback is out for the year. It's what is it? Bittersweet. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
But, you know, that's just how the game's played, I guess.
I was really looking forward to a Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl.
Well,
but
they got to get through the Rams first.
Sam Darnold's got that.
I hope so. But that game was a dogfight in the regular season between the Rams and the Seahawks, so I think it'll be a good matchup.
That will be a good game. And
yeah, I'll be watching that
each other.
But we can't count out the Broncos yet, Jorie. We've seen backup QBs beat the Patriots before.
Oh, I don't know. I think Stidham has it in him.
I think Jared's got it.
It's going to come down to the defense, I think.
Drake May is a fraud.
Drake.
Oh, I don't know about that part.
He's a fraud.
He's a hooper.
But anyway, on to the NBA talk. I think this is probably the first time this season that we've done 2 episodes like within a week span, maybe, or consecutive episodes in consecutive weeks, whatever that is. So that's good. But part of the reason why we wanted to do an episode is because we got some pretty major news on the injury front, unfortunately. That being Jimmy Butler, as he has torn his ACL and he will miss the remainder of the season. That came on Monday night against his former team, against the Miami Heat. Jimmy, he was 36 years old. He was averaging 20 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 4.9 assists per game this season in 38 games. And the Warriors are currently 25-19 and have won 12 of their last 16 games. So obviously this is a major blow to the Warriors. Very unfortunate. Obviously, you never want to see anybody get hurt, but a guy like Jimmy Butler is pretty integral to this team ever since he got traded there last year. But with that being said, I've seen a lot of people saying this. Is the Warriors dynasty officially over?
The dynasty, I feel like, is definitely over with. I don't think there's any shot of them winning a championship, but I think at least I would bet that Steph and Draymond both re-sign. You know, if it's up to them, if Golden State gives them an offer and it's up to them, I think they would just re-sign and stay where they are. But you never know. This guy Draymond, he's always been a Glazer, so maybe he hops over to LA before LeBron retires and see what he could do. But no, I think realistically, I think they both re-sign in Golden State, and perhaps even on a objectively cheap contract to maybe become a little bit more competitive, maybe snag a ring before Steph retires. But when it comes to Jimmy, if I were the Warriors, I probably wouldn't give him an offer. You don't want a 36-year-old coming off an ACL tear. And if you're also thinking, for the future, life after Steph Curry, you might not want to bring him back and, have all that money going towards this one guy when you could maybe build something for the future.
Yeah, I mostly agree. I think the dynasty was already over. I think it officially ended to me when Clay left. The Jimmy Butler, Curry, Draymond Warriors trio has really never gone anywhere near the peak level of success that the Warriors had when they had KD, or even the original trio of KD or of Steph, Clay, and Draymond. But I do think that the Warriors should be using this Jimmy injury as a sign to start the rebuild. Maybe not a full teardown because obviously Steph is still an elite player, but I don't think the team is good enough right now to compete with the real contenders in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I should have prefaced that. So all of these players, Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, they are all under contract for this season and the following season. But after
Uh,
that, the only after that, so for the 27-28 season, there's only 3 players under contract for the Warriors: Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, and Will Richard. So
Shout
you
out
know
Will Richard.
this this team obviously could look a lot different very soon. But like you guys said, I mean, it felt like that 2022 title that they won was kind of, I don't want to say it's not a sham, but it was just like, hmm,
Like,
like,
did that even happen?
yeah, it just feels like that wasn't really even part of, I don't know. Maybe it's similar. Maybe it's similar to like what the Spurs did in like 2014, taking down LeBron and the Heat, some stuff like that. Like this aged Spurs dynasty, comes together with all that championship experience and wins one more title. But to me, I think this is all she wrote for Golden State in this era. It was obviously a fantastic run what they've had with Steph, Draymond, like you said, Clay, Kevin Durant when he was there. But um, I don't know. I think even this season, now that Jimmy is gone, and despite what I said, they had won 12 of the last 16 games, and they have a pretty good cushion between the teams currently behind them. Golden State is in 8th place. But I feel like come playing time, because I don't really see this team getting much better, if at all, throughout the rest of the season. I feel like they're going to be pretty at a pretty big disadvantage. When you have to face a team like Phoenix, who's overperformed, I think, in a lot of people's expectations this year, and then directly behind them, you have a young and hungry Portland team that's played pretty well all year, and after a terrible start to the season, the Clippers have gone 17-2 in their last 19 games. So I feel like they've really figured it out and they're turning it around. Um, and yeah, like I said, like without Jimmy, like he was such a big piece to this team, and it was such a good trade for them. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, finally now Jonathan Kuminga is gonna get his chance to shine." And I love Jonathan Kuminga. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he and Jimmy are like at all similar. Like
He's out of
Jimmy.
there.
Yeah.
Not even
But
gonna
I
do it.
think I think this gives Jonathan Kuminga the opportunity to raise his trade value before the end of the deadline. And I think that could end up helping the Warriors in the long run.
He's
I,
out of there.
I also think Steph definitely needs to retire as a Warrior. Like they don't need to do that nonsense where they're like, you can just go to a different team and finish out your career and try to still chase some championships. Nah, like the guy's been a Warrior his whole life. You can't mess that up.
Yeah.
Even Draymond, I feel like you should keep him around in like a Udonis Haslem type of role, even if he's not going to be playing like starter minutes. He's got to be there to set the culture for the team.
Exactly, for the culture. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I didn't really believe in this team before Jimmy's injury, like as a true championship contender, and now that he's gone, I really don't believe in this team. Like they just have not really been able to stay healthy for the most part, and yeah, I feel like the Al Horford signing was not as, or it hasn't really lived up to expectations. Like he was a big piece for the Celtics the past couple of years, but he's really not been a factor whatsoever for Golden State. And their young players like Pajemski hasn't really taking a big leap, and Moses Moody the same thing, and obviously Kuminga has just been out of the rotation completely, which is so strange. But I don't know. This is just a really tragic ending, or what it feels like an ending to this dynasty. But we saw it at its heights, and it was amazing. And this is just how it goes in the NBA. So, what are you gonna do? Yeah. So, get well soon, Jimmy. It's tough, very tough.
Yeah.
Facts. You want to see that guy healthy again.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on from a not too somber subject, the NBA announced the starters for the 2026 All-Star Game. Obviously, big news here. In the Eastern Conference, we have Tyrese Maxey of the Sixers, of course, Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And out west, we have Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Victor Wembanyama. And this year's All-Star Game has a new format where they're doing a USA versus the world type of format where they're going to have 3 teams. They're going to have one world team consisting of 8 players and then 2 US teams consisting of 8 players, and it's going to be like a round-robin tournament type of thing. So from what it seems like, they already have at least the starters for the world team, because 5 of those players are technically international players, being Giannis, Luka, Shai, Jokic, and Wemby. So a lot of people are already just kind of projecting that's what the U.S. team is going to be, and then the world team is going to be, and then the U.S. team is kind of still up for debate. We'll have to see what all the reserves look like and everything. But if you noticed, I didn't mention one name who has been a staple in the All-Star Game and All-Star starter basically his entire career, and that is LeBron James, who is not an NBA All-Star starter for the first time since his rookie season. LeBron has been a starter every year except his rookie season. And ironically enough, this game is being played in Los Angeles, and the last time he wasn't a starter, that game was also in Los Angeles. So a little bit of a weird coincidence there. But I don't know. Do you guys think LeBron should have been a starter, or is there any players that you think should have been starters that were not named starters?
I'll let you go, Woods.
I mean, I think Legoat could have been Lenepo'd into the starting lineup just for his longevity. Guy's still a big deal. But on a more serious note, I think the fans mostly got it right, fans in the NBA. The only change I probably really make is I put Anthony Edwards in the starting lineup over Steph.
I said the same thing. And over Steph, I think it's perfect. LeBron's been putting up some pretty good numbers. I'm not gonna lie. Guy's putting up like 26, 7, and 8 or something like that. It's classic. He's doing
Pretty
this
close to
for
the classic LeBron stat
yeah.
line,
Guy's been averaging that for 20 years.
like clockwork.
I actually saw a comparison of his stats in whatever year it was when he played on the Heat versus this season, and he's having a better season this year than he was prime Miami LeBron.
Like efficiency wise, or like
Efficiency, all of his stats are up. Every stat, the 3 main stats and his true shooting percentage, I think were all up.
Yeah.
Guy's a bucket, a timeless bucket.
what up, Legoat? What up, LeBron?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think the Eastern Conference, honestly, is perfect. I don't really think I would have made any changes there. I feel like Tyrese Maxey has been tremendous. Obviously, Jalen Brunson, Cade being on the best team. Jaylen Brown, who, honestly, to me, he might be teetering in that MVP conversation this year, dude. He's been amazing. And then, obviously, Giannis, even though he missed some time with an injury. But yeah, out west, I mean, I could see the Ant argument for sure. But I think at the same time, Steph has been has been very good, and I'm not too mad at it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, they're all going to the same All-Star game, so it's not the end of the world, but I guess just for kind of like a historical reference thing. But, we'll see. But that being said, now that we have the starters announced, I kind of wanted to get your takes on who you think the reserves from each conference were going to be. And if you want, I have mine down here, and you guys can kind of, I guess, go off what I have, say, if you agree, disagree, whatever it is. So out east, I think a lock for reserves, Donovan Mitchell. I think, he's probably, of all the guys that weren't starters, probably the most deserving to be a starter. But again, I think the East was pretty much perfect. A guy we mentioned a bunch of times this year, Jalen Johnson of the Hawks. I think he's an all-star for sure. And honestly, after that, it gets pretty, you could really go in a lot of directions. But here's who I have for the remaining 5, I guess. So I got Scotty Barnes, Toronto's very own. I feel like he's been really good. The Raptors have been very solid this year. A guy down in Miami who should have been an all-star last year, Norman Powell.
I like that pick.
Who's been honestly really good this year. I think he's averaging like 24 a game for them. Just went to Miami. Should have never left LA. Or the Clippers should have never let him leave, but yeah, he's been great. Another guy on the top team in the East, I feel like they deserve 2 All-Stars. That's Jalen Duren. He's been really good this year. Just a huge force for them on both sides of the floor. I wish Toby were here to say this, and it kind of pains my heart to say it myself, but Michael Porter Jr. is an all-star to me.
Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah,
Michael Porter Jr. Porter Jr.
Never seen a bad shot in his life, Porter Jr. Yeah, I feel like he's been really good, pretty consistent throughout the year for the Nets, even though, they don't have the best record, but I feel like he's been really good. And for my last spot, it was between 2 guys, but I think I'm leaning another Toronto Raptor, and that's Brandon Ingram.
Jorie Mickens. What a great list. I was literally about to correct whoever you picked and say Brandon Ingram, literally almost no matter who you picked, but you picked him anyway. That was a great pick.
It was between him and Karl-Anthony Towns.
You should have put Cat over Jalen Duren.
No.
I feel like Duren. I feel like it's hard to not give the Pistons 2 guys also.
Jalen Duren.
But I don't know. Cat has kind of been up and down for some of the year. His stats are, pretty much similar to always, but I don't know. I just like Brandon Ingram. I feel like I think I mentioned this like earlier in the season. I just feels like he's back to that all-star level. He's very consistent. Like he's healthy. He seems like he's playing with like a joy that he hasn't played in a while or played with in a while. So Brandon Ingram, but yeah, I don't know if you guys have any other Eastern Conference guys you want to mention before I get to the West.
Honestly, I think you hit the nail on the head. I was kind of concerned for a minute before you brought up Norman Powell that you were going to pick Josh Giddey instead.
Nah,
but I had Norman Powell over Josh Giddey too.
He had a good start to the year, but I feel like it's kind of tailored off a little bit.
I'll save my West guys for after you go over it, but I'm putting in my vote for all the guys who aren't going to win the popularity contest but deserve to be all-stars. Norman Powell, MPJ, and this doesn't apply to the popularity contest part, but LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball needs to be in there because the Hornets are balling.
I will say that I do like what I'm seeing from Charlotte this year. I feel like they're finally like taking a step in the right direction where like previously it just felt like they had no direction. But yeah, they're figuring it out, I think. Shout out Concanipple. He might be the best player on that team. Honestly, he might be
I
the
was
most
hating.
deserving of the All
Yeah,
Star nod.
the whole
But
team is coming together nicely.
I was
Um,
hating on that guy,
I
Con.
think LaMelo's been balling for sure, but I don't think I'd put him over any of these guys right now. I think he got hot a little later into the year than some of these other guys did.
Yeah, maybe.
we'll see. It comes down for the reserves. It's based on the coaches and who they decide. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, how they vote is different than like how the media and fans vote and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, those are my East All Stars, at least for right now. We'll see. We'll see. They get announced on February 1st, so we'll know in about like 10 days or so. But yeah, out west, honestly, I think out west was a little bit easier. The East was a little bit tricky for me, but out west, it seems pretty simple. Anthony Edwards, obviously, who we mentioned. Yeah, like he probably could have been a starter, but yeah, he's to me like that, like right there. Kevin Durant, another guy who's like it's not even just for like the legacy of him, but I feel like he's had a really solid season in Houston. Devin Booker, I feel like he's played very well for Phoenix, and again, he's been kind of the driving force for. I mean, that whole team has been really good. Like Dylan Brooks, honestly, is he's not an all-star, but like he's whatever like the tier below an all-star is this year. Like he's been honestly great for them. And they have some other really good players like Colin Gillespie's been really good this year, Mark Williams, etc. But I think Devin Booker is an all-star this year. Kawhi Leonard. I don't think I would have said this, a month ago, but like I said, the Clippers are 17-2 in their last 19 games, which is incredible. And Kawhi has kind of been the driving force behind that. He's been healthy. He had like a 55-point game earlier this year, I think. But yeah, he's been doing Kawhi things out there in LA, and I feel like it's kind of been going under the radar, but I think he'll get the nod. All right, Jamal Murray, baby. Yes, sir. Yeah, dude, I don't know. He's especially with Jokic being out, I think he's really stepped up. But he just looks like so in control. Like he looks like he's obviously been a great player for a long time, but it just feels like he's taken another leap forward where he just doesn't look rushed. I feel like his facilitating and passing has taken a step forward as well. Like he looks really good and in control, like playing the point guard position for them. So I don't know. I think this is the best year he's ever had. And the Nuggets are, I think, third in the West right now, or third or fourth. And I don't know. I feel like they are deserving of at least another All-Star. Obviously Jokic, but I think Jamal's finally going to get his respect. Denny Avdia out there in Portland. I think he finished I want to say he was like top 7 or in the media vote maybe or something like that. I forget where he finished, but he was pretty high like in the media vote and the fan vote too. Like he was high in the fan vote. I feel like yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, he's been really good for Portland. Like I said, they've been a pretty competitive team, so I feel like he's deserving of that nod. And for my last spot,
Say it, Jorie. Do it.
I wrote down 2 names. And I'm like I said, the same way how I was between Brandon Ingram and Cat, like I'm kind of like back and forth. I don't know who deserves this last spot. My gut says one thing, but I want to go the other way. And I think James Harden is more deserving than LeBron James of this All-Star nod. Yeah.
Okay, that's not the players I thought you were picking.
I thought you were going to say Austin Reeves.
Oh,
Austin Reeves needs to be an all-star.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but he's been hurt for like the past couple. He's been hurt for like over a month now. But I mean,
Harden
LeBron
hasn't
too.
balling.
But that's what I mean.
I really can't fault Harden. But at the
LeBron-
same time, I feel like
LeBron's
been playing his role.
LeBron's gonna get the nod. Like there's no doubt in my mind, but
I don't know.
I think Harden deserves it over like just from like a basketball standpoint and like a playing standpoint,
No,
production
no.
standpoint. It's to me it's Harden, but LeBron's gonna get the spot because
I
it's
fully
LeBron.
disagree.
And the game's
I
in
think
LA.
like
Fully
looking
disagree.
at like pure numbers, like ignoring like actual like eye test basketball, it's gonna be LeBron. But I think Harden's impact on winning is like understated. That guy does what it needs, what the game takes.
I mean, there's a chance that because of this new All-Star format, so like they need 8 international players and then 16 U.S. players. So like there's a chance that there's like extra All-Stars basically, and so there's probably a likelihood that we see both LeBron, Harden, and maybe even Reeves if he's healthy. So like it just comes down to like the numbers, but
What if they are?
I feel like it would like just from like a I don't know, like a spectator standpoint, like it wouldn't make any sense to not have LeBron in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I
Even
think
if
there's just too much money on the line not to send that guy
but
in LA.
so that's my list. I don't know if you guys have any other changes.
Sounded pretty good to me.
Yeah, you said Sengun, right?
I didn't.
Ooh,
I
then
did
I don't
not
know.
say Sengun.
Sengun might have to be on that list.
Yeah, I mean I thought about it too. Um I don't know. Like I just feel like I look at it like Ant is a lock to me.
Yeah,
Durant,
yeah.
Booker, I feel like really deserves it. And I really feel like Jamal has just been like playing out of his mind. You'll be like, just wait. He's gonna get the. I'm telling you, he's gonna be an all-star. Like, if he's not an all-star, he'll literally never be an all-star.
He's
Like,
never winning one.
I wouldn't be
and
surprised though if Sengun makes it over like Devin Booker.
maybe I feel like they also like to get like representation from a bunch of different teams. You know, like
Yeah, that's
try
true.
and get a bunch of different fan bases to like kind of enjoy the game. And if you already have Durant, I don't know.
You
And
probably don't need
Phoenix,
to
I feel like Phoenix definitely deserves at least one. Like just given
because
how
they've
good
definitely
they've been.
overachieved for a
Yeah.
lot of what people thought going into the season where they'd be at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely would never say Devin Booker didn't deserve to be an all-star though. Whoever gets it, it'll make sense, but they got
And
some
yeah, I
dogs
mean
in the West. It's a tough
if
contest.
again like with the world versus US thing, like if they won't have the numbers, like Şengün will probably just be thrown
Yeah.
in there. But who knows, man? I'm excited to see because I feel like there's a lot of great players this year, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of snubs. Yeah, so we'll see, man. We'll see. But yeah, shout out the starters, and we'll be excited to learn when the reserves are announced. All right, well, Justin, you kind of wanted to talk about the Eastern Conference as a whole for them, because it's been quite a battle. We talk so much about how competitive the Western Conference is, but the East has been a lot of fun to watch this year. The Pistons, they are leading the charge with a 31-10 record, up there in first place. In second place, to many people's surprise, the Celtics are 26-16, and right behind them in third is the Knicks at 25-18. So, like I said, I just feel like we should do kind of like a temperature check of where you guys stand on who you think might come out of the East this year. Because I feel like right now it kind of comes down to probably those three teams. Toronto has been really good, and the Sixers have actually been pretty competitive as well, but it feels like it's probably going to be one of these three teams at the moment. Anything is possible, but, we're almost, I think, more than halfway into the year, so teams are starting to kind of build those identities and such. But I don't know. I guess we can start with Detroit. How do you guys feel about the Pistons right now? And do you think that they should be buyers at the trade deadline? A lot of people are talking about some players that they could pursue to kind of make themselves like push themselves over the top. But I don't know. What do you guys think of the Pistons at the moment?
I think they got a really nice team right now. I don't think they need to make any major moves at the deadline, but I do think that they'll be buyers. Maybe only for like a deep rotational guy, maybe like a sharpshooter or something, just to stretch the floor. But I don't think they need to get anybody that they can't get for cheap. Don't mess up the roster too much. It's working.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
I almost fully agree. They they just feel like such a cohesive unit. Like there's a great culture, deep roster, like you said. Um, if they can find a trade at the deadline that they just can't say no to, then pull the trigger. But I'm kind of leaning towards like what you said, Spencer. Just if you could just find somebody space the floor, or maybe be a rim protector, behind Jalen Duren or whatever. I don't think there's really anything that they need to do. I feel like that you could already put them down as the one seed out east, like barring any major injury to a star player. I don't think, you know, at this point either the Knicks or the Celtics will catch up.
Yeah, I like obviously I think the Pistons it's incredible like what they've done in their turnaround to go from a team that literally broke a losing streak record to being the best team in the Eastern Conference. It's amazing what JB Bickerstaff and this team has done. I will say they aren't like a perfect team. I think they have that Detroit identity where they're like a really gritty and defensive minded team. But I do feel like they are a little over reliant on Cade to basically control like the entire offense. Like they don't really have another guy outside of him where if, defense is kind of focusing completely on Cade, like they don't really have another guy to go to. Like a really another go-to scorer who they can just put the ball in their hands and feel comfortable. Like I think Jalen Duren is a pretty good facilitator and ball handler, initiator, whatever at the center spot, but like he's not that like number one option that's running your offense type of player. So I think yeah, like in terms of being a buyer at the deadline, um, maybe like a minor move, like another I don't even know who that player would be. Like I've seen I think last week I mentioned like Michael Porter Jr. would be a great pickup for them, but I don't know if they're gonna go all in something like that, like a smaller player. Like I've seen someone say like Benedict Mathurin from Indiana, like somebody like that who can come in off the bench and just provide an offensive output type of deal. Like I feel like that would be a good type of player for them. It's a shame because they had pretty much the perfect player in Malik Beasley last year. And, with the whole gambling situation and everything like that, he obviously hasn't been able to play this year. But, like, if they still had him on the team, like, this team would be in a really good spot. But, I mean, they obviously are still in a really good spot given that they're the number one seed in the East. So, as of right now, the Eastern Conference playoffs is going to run through Detroit, but who knows? I feel like they still have some holes to fill. And they're still a young team, so they don't want to blow it up. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, you don't want to give up assets to try and win a championship. Like, why don't you try and do it like the Warriors did it or like how OKC is doing it? But not everybody can be like that. Not everyone is realistic. That's not realistic for everybody, Like sometimes you're not going to just get an MVP candidate from like a random trade and a bunch of draft picks. Like that was like a once in a lifetime opportunity for like OKC. And the Warriors are blessed to be able to draft Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and then have Durant fall into their lap years later. Like sometimes you do have to kind of mortgage your future in order to win now. I'm not saying that they're going to do that, but something they need to think about for sure. But we'll see.
Yeah. I think though, as far as like a Michael Porter Jr. trade, I feel like the Nets are gonna want too much back for him with the way that he's been balling out of his mind. So I don't see the Pistons pursuing him unless they can get some type of deal. But the way he's playing right now, I don't see why the Nets would give anybody any help with that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll be an interesting trade deadline for sure. But
Yeah, here's to hoping Josh still doesn't get traded.
exactly. Uh, but I think honestly, the team I'm most intrigued by in the Eastern Conference, right now at least, is the Boston Celtics. Because I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but I definitely said it just in conversations that I have just talking about the NBA that I thought the Celtics were going to be terrible this year. And, they lose Drew Holiday, they lose Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford leaves. Like, they're a lot, obviously, and then Jayson Tatum, the big injury that he suffered in the playoffs, he's not going to be there. And I'm just like, it would make some sense for the Celtics to kind of not bottom out, but you know lose some games, try and get a draft pick, and then kind of re up for next year when Tatum is healthy and everything. That has not been the case at all. Like I mentioned earlier, Jaylen Brown to me has been like a top 5 player in the league this season. Like he's been absolutely fantastic. And then not only that, you still have Derek White, who's again like similar to I forget who I mentioned earlier, like the guys that are right below that All-Star level.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's
Dylan Brooks.
yeah, Dylan exactly. Like he's like kind of in that tier where it's like I don't know if I view him as like an All-Star per se, but on any given night he can go off and be basically like your best player. And he's been fantastic. Peyton Pritchard, who I think was 6th man of the year last year, stepped into the starting lineup, has been really good. And they got a bunch of young guys, a young like athletic guys. I think they have a rookie, Hugo Gonzalez, who's like just a wiry defender. Jordan Walsh the same way. Like just they got a bunch of athletic wings. And Joe Mazzulla, he's just done it again.
Yeah, Anthony Simons off the bench.
Anthony Simons, exactly. Like they've got a really good squad. Um, but yeah, I think the big, obviously, question mark is Jayson Tatum coming back this year. He's been working out. I've seen workouts with him, like on social media. I think he just did like a 45-minute workout in front of reporters the other day. It seems like he's going to play this year, which is ridiculous to say because he tore his Achilles in the second round of the playoffs last year, I think in May. I mean, he's obviously very determined to get back onto the court, but if that is the case, do you think that would make the Celtics the favorite to come out of the East?
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so. I feel like I don't know, knowing Joe Mazzulla, how much of a psycho that guy is. As soon as he hears Jayson Tatum's good to go, 40 minutes a game, right back in the starting lineup. Like, you don't get no like minutes restriction or nothing. You're right back to it. But at least for me, I would think that he would probably come off the bench, at least for a little bit. Um, but you never know. He might come in and just kind of mess up the flow and chemistry that they've built throughout the season. I don't think that would happen, you know, realistically, but he really could just come in and, everybody's like, oh, our guy is back. Let's get him going. And then he's just, he's not in game shape or whatever it is. And maybe they slip down the standings a little bit, maybe like a spot or two. And, or if he comes back in the playoffs, maybe, whoever they play against can expose that and kind of be like, you know, let's make them let's make them feel like Jayson Tatum ruined our chances type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a media perspective, it's going to open up a whole can of worms as far as who the number one of the Celtics is going to be. Is it Jaylen Brown? Is it Jason Tatum? And they're just going to be in every player on the Celtics ear for the whole rest of the year asking that question. And I think Joe Mazzulla and the rest of the Celtics organization is a close enough knit group to handle that. But at the same time, with the way that Jaylen Brown's been playing, is it fair to him to not let this be his year as the number one? He's had the hot hand all year. He's been playing like a top 5 player, arguably, if not the best two-way player in the entire NBA right now. So Jayson Tatum coming back could mess up the flow that he's had, even if it's not because he's not playing well. You know what I mean? Even if Jayson Tatum is playing well, even if Jaylen Brown is playing well, does it still throw off the dynamic of the team trying to work Jayson Tatum back in when they've already dedicated so much time and energy into building the team around Jaylen Brown for this season?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking, kind of.
Yeah, I mean the thing though I think with Tatum, and I've always kind of liked about Tatum, is that he doesn't really have like, and I don't mean this in like a negative way, but he doesn't really have like that signature skill, so to speak. You know, like when you think of like Steph Curry, you think of like 3-point shooting, you think of like LeBron, I don't know, you think of just general athleticism or even like IQ. Same thing with Jokic. Like he's just gonna like mentally beat you down, whatever that is. With Tatum, I feel like it's always just kind of been like he's an all-around superstar, and like his ability to make an impact in every different facet of the game. So I do feel like he'll be able to kind of slot in a little bit better than some other superstars who kind of like might need the ball to kind of showcase the type of player that they are. Whereas he might just be able to come in, play off the ball, rebound, play some defense. And I feel like if he can just get his legs under him, who knows when he'll come back? Like, I don't know. There's really no timetable yet. But if he can have, maybe 15 games in the regular season to figure out, how his body feels and everything as he gears up towards the playoffs, I mean, this team is going to be very interesting. But
Yeah.
but I totally get what you're saying though. Like I think Jaylen Brown absolutely deserves to kind of continue on that mantle of being the number one option on this team. Like I think honestly the Celtics would be foolish to say like, hey, after you've literally missed the entire season, let's just push Jayson Tatum and give him this huge workload and like force him to be our number one guy. Like I don't even think the Celtics would say like that's a good idea. So
Right. I agree with that part. My
yeah.
thing wasn't even that it was going to be difficult for Tatum to like gel with the team while he's coming back. It's more so the question marks that arise in like late game situations. Like at the end of the game, Jayson Tatum still has to feel like he's that guy. He still knows he's Jayson Tatum. He's going to want to shoot those kind of shots. Is he going to feel comfortable being like, all right, this is Jaylen Brown's year to take every single one of these late game moment shots? Or is he going to be like, I'm clutch and try to end the game? And you can't tell him like not to shoot those kind of shots because of the kind of player, the caliber of player that he is. But when you're Jaylen Brown and you've been doing this the whole season, I feel like you now have that authority to be like, this is my kind of shot at this point. Like that's all me. You got to take the back seat for this season.
And I will
Yeah.
say, I think, because I think it's been like documented that Tatum is like a huge Kobe fan, and like that's kind of like his basketball idol. And Kobe, when he tore his Achilles, I forget what year that was, like near the end of his career, he came back in like 7 months.
Yeah.
So like that's like that was and Kobe was like again that was like at the end of his career when he was in his like mid 30s. Tatum is still like younger than 30 years old. So again trying to replicate what Kobe does, like, but but I don't know. It's we'll see. Honestly, it is kind of exciting, like because I just didn't anticipate the Celtics to be in this position. But now that you add a guy like that back into your lineup, like it really could change the entire championship contender conversation in the whole league. So
Really
Nah,
makes me angry
definitely.
too. Makes me angry that they're playing this well. Because I was like, whole season, I was like, oh, it's gonna be Knicks and Pistons, no other competition. Just straight to the Eastern Conference Finals, but now we got to worry about these clowns.
Yeah, going into the season, I definitely thought it was going to be like a ghost tank year where they were going to have like a
Yeah.
down year and try to get like a lottery pick and just bring that back to make the team like a dynasty. But they've really proved me and a lot of other people wrong this year. They've played out of their minds. And I'm hoping, honestly, that Jayson Tatum can come back and gel with the whole team and they can get right because that team would be scary.
Yeah. Before we move on, though, I kind of wanted to ask a question. So, like you kind of, mentioned it, Spencer, that, there's going to be talks in the media of like, you know, oh, whose team is it really? Is it finally Jaylen Brown's team? All this stuff. They've kind of been talking about that. Like everybody's had that conversation for the last few years. Like, whose team really is it? Is Jaylen Brown actually better than Jayson Tatum? Have you guys ever felt like, or heard any stories or seen anything that Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum kind of let that get to their head like a little bit? And if, either yes or no, if Jayson Tatum comes back, do you think that'll finally happen? Like something will happen in the locker room where they're just like, this is my team. No, this is my team. And they just kind of everything crumbles from right underneath them.
Hmm. Honestly, I haven't really heard it being a problem for the two of them. Like, I'm pretty sure they get along great from everything that I've heard. Um, I think those kind of issues in my mind would probably start after this season, depending on how the season ends or something. Um, but as far as like this season, I feel like they're probably good. I think Jason Tatum knows that he's coming off of an injury. He's seen the way that Jaylen Brown is playing. I don't expect it to be an issue, but the question mark is definitely there of it being like a possible issue.
Yeah.
I think also throughout his entire career, like, well, their entire career, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, they've always had, like, I don't want to say super teams, but teams that aren't, like, built like a, I guess, normal championship contender where you have, like, the one superstar and then you have, like, the kind of, the, second tier player and then a bunch of role players. Like, it's always been, like, the team that won a title, it was, like, Drew Holiday, who's, like, I don't know if he was an all-star at that point, but like a really good player. Derek White, a really good player. Al Horford, really good player. Kristaps Porzingis, really good player. And even before that, like it was the same deal with like Marcus Smart. You had Kyrie Irving. You had Kemba Walker. They've had like a lot of great players that have come through this organization.
I don't know if Celtics Kemba Walker is a really good player.
I mean, sure, why not? But you get what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't always just like, it's always like, oh, it's either Tatum or Brown. Like, it was like a collaborative team effort that always was the reason why this team was so good. Obviously, Tatum and Brown are the driving factors behind that. But, like, I don't know. To me, I've never looked at, like, this iteration of the Celtics and was like, Jayson Tatum is the only reason why they're good, or like Jaylen Brown is the only reason why they're good. Like it was always like more than, what is it? The
Yeah.
sum is greater than whatever. I don't know what that thing is. That phrase is whatever that phrase is.
I definitely think it's more of an issue probably outside of the locker room than it is inside of it. Um, but again, depending on how this season ends, I think it could completely change everything. Like if the Celtics manage to win a championship this year and Jaylen Brown gets a second Finals MVP, I don't think you can make an argument for him not being better than Jayson Tatum anymore. Jayson Tatum would immediately move to like the number 2 spot. But if they have a horrible playoff run or something, and then Jayson Tatum starts dropping 50 every single night, but then they lose anyway, like depending on how it goes, it could raise a lot more questions or answers.
Yeah. 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 I just wanted to see how you guys were feeling about that is all.
The sum is greater than the parts. That's what I was trying to say. But anyway.
Wait,
yeah.
wait. Speaking of sayings, though, Spencer, what did you say earlier? Open a whole can of worms? Is that what
Yeah, open a can of worms. You never heard that?
I've never heard
What?
that.
I feel like that's a popular one.
No, I've never heard that. Let me laugh.
That's a good one.
That's funny. That's funny. I said to my younger brother the other day, I was like, the straw that broke the camel's back, and he had no idea what I was trying to say. And I was like, that's a popular saying.
Yeah,
like I was
I've
like,
heard that
what
one.
do you
I've heard
mean?
that one.
He's like, I've literally never heard of that. I was like, okay.
Shout
I
out to
feel like I
Jorie.
said, Justin, I feel like I said closed mouths don't get fed to you one time and you didn't know that one either.
No, I don't even remember that because I've definitely never heard that.
Oh my
I feel like that's a
goodness.
classic line.
I don't
Oh,
know, man. I guess I'm
that's
just
funny.
not like as cultured, I guess.
That's funny. Well, I don't know if I have a saying for this next team that we have on our
We could
rundown.
just skip this part. We could just end it here. Just
The
end
New
it here.
York Knicks. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. They've lost 9 of their last 11 games. Um, I'll just say I feel like I'm not too concerned about what's going on in New York. From what it seems like, a lot of the players have kind of chalked it up as to like a mid-season blues / effort type of thing, where they kind of go out there and kind of go through the motions, and they're not really locked in defensively. And when that's the case, it's harder to get your offense going. And this is kind of more of an offensive slanted team now that they have Mike Brown. So I feel like they're just not. They don't have the same buy-in that they had at the beginning of the season when they were, going through the NBA Cup and winning that, or even last year, obviously under Thibodeau. And I don't know. I don't want to make it seem. I don't want to overblow. Or I guess overblow the situation. Obviously, it's tough, but the Knicks, man. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's New York, so people are always gonna panic when it's the Knicks. But honestly, they're still third in the East, and I think Jalen Brunson had missed like the past couple of games too, so that obviously was a big deal. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I've seen, like you said, Jalen Brunson's been out. I've seen some stuff where it seems like Mitch Robb might be getting disgruntled.
That guy's been disgruntled for like 4 years. We don't got to worry about that guy.
Okay, you're saying that. But maybe the Knicks got paid in the NBA Cup and they're getting complacent.
Maybe, yeah.
That extra money makes them not care about this part of the regular season now or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you know, maybe they just had their eyes set on the wrong prize at the time. Maybe they were too focused on that, and then they got it, and then they were just like, oh, I could take my foot off the gas for a little bit, and maybe that just, that kind of attitude just got to them, and they couldn't break out of it. Like you said, Brunson's been out. Josh Hart has been out. I don't know as of like late how Karl Anthony Towns has been doing, but he was in and out, in kind of like around game 20, game 25, like that. He was in and out of the lineup. And I saw stories at the beginning of the year that Karl Anthony Towns he wasn't really feeling his role in the offense under Mike Brown. It didn't sound like he liked the way that Mike Brown came in and, what he has for him, on a game to game basis. But I saw a report earlier today from Ramona Shelbourne. Brunson held a players only meeting after getting blown out by the Mavericks on Monday the 19th, January 19th. I don't know. That kind of scares me a little bit because anytime there's a players only meeting, it usually never really helps anything. But that's the captain. If the captain wants a players only meeting, we're getting a players only meeting.
I
Yeah.
like the initiative and the leadership from Brunson.
Yeah, I think that was the kind of what drove a lot of the media to where they are now, that loss to the Mavericks.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Exactly. See, now we're starting to get it. But no, that loss was pretty bad. I think that they trailed by like as much as 30 points, and this is a home game too. Mine, and also, I think the starting lineup for Dallas was Cooper Flagg, who's obviously been a starter all year, and then Caleb Martin, Dwight Powell, Max Christie, and Najee Marshall. So they didn't, obviously no Kyrie Irving, no Anthony Davis, no Daniel Gafford, et cetera, et cetera. So like, no PJ Washington. So just like what felt like a get right game for the Knicks turned out to be like a really bad loss. But, it's one game of 82, and I feel like they'll be able to bounce back. Now, tomorrow, I've seen a lot of people say that this could be a really, I don't know if divisive is the right word, game, but they play Brooklyn tomorrow in New York, the Battle of New York, of course. And a lot of people are like, if they lose this game, that, because also you have the whole, we traded for Mikal Bridges and we gave the Nets a bunch of picks and all that, that whole thing. So you don't want to lose 10 of 12 to a team that, is considered your little brother basically at home. So I feel like that actually is going to be a pretty big game. And Brooklyn is a competitive team, like they don't have the best record, but they play hard and they have some good wins this year. So
I'll tell you what. You said it's in MSG. It's in New York.
yeah, it's yep.
The fans were booing against the Mavericks in New York. The fans were booing our team.
Yeah.
If we are getting blown out by the Brooklyn Nets, if we're getting blown out by our little brother, I feel like that place is going to be rocking with negativity. That place, we were going to hear some of the loudest boos any home team is ever going to hear. I guarantee it.
I'm telling you, man, that's a big game for New York, I think.
Yeah, they got to win that one for
They got to
sure.
step up for that one. So,
Do you think the Knicks will lock back in before the playoffs start? Or do you think if they lose this game, it'll continue the negative trend that they're on?
honestly, I think after the All-Star break, they'll be able to kind of regroup and refocus. Hopefully, they can get healthy. And who knows? Maybe they try and make a move at the deadline. I can't imagine that they're going to trade like any major players, but maybe they try and retool just a little bit, get better around the margins. But yeah, I feel like this team they have such a like competitive identity, and yeah, they don't have Tibbs anymore, but I feel like the identity, like you said, Justin the captain, Brunson leading the charge. I feel like I don't know. I can't imagine this team is just gonna kind of falter throughout the postseason.
I'll tell you what, though. The Knicks are the 3 seed. We are only 3 games ahead of the 8th seeded Miami Heat. So all those teams are only separated by 3 games. If this does continue, Knicks might be a play-in team.
Oh boy!
And if that happens, I don't think we even get out of the first round of the playoffs.
That would be interesting for sure. If you had to play like Boston or Detroit in the first round, that would not be fun.
Yeah, man. But we beat them both last year, and nobody thought we got a chance against the Celtics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the Knicks are 2-8 in their last 10, and that's worse than everybody down to the 13th seeded Nets, who are the same 2-8 in the last 10.
I'm telling you, tomorrow, man, it's a big game.
So it is.
It's a big game, man.
The East is wide open even now.
Yeah. But like I said, the Eastern Conference has been a lot of fun to watch, and it'll be a lot more fun as we kind of get down to the end of the season. It's obviously a lot of time left. It's only January 20th, but it'll be fun to watch down the stretch. But yeah. Any parting words before we sign off?
Shout out to John Harbaugh.
Oh yeah, he had his introductory
Yes,
press
sir.
conference today.
I need him to get the team right, John.
New York
We need
Giants
you,
head
Coach
coach.
Harbaugh.
Yeah. And shout out Indiana football also.
Yeah.
Winning that national championship.
Shout out Indiana. Shout out Uzi.
That was so weird. Why was he there at the game?
You didn't see all that stuff where
Mendoza.
Yeah, Mendoza had asked him to come to the national championship game if they made it, and obviously Uzi had to show up.
That's hilarious, dude.
I saw on Instagram earlier today that guy Mendoza is the one and only guy that Lil Uzi Vert follows on Instagram.
That's tough. That's
Wow.
super tough.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, he showed up with the Mendoza uni. I was like, that is so fire.
Yeah.
Too bad that guy's about to go to the Raiders.
Yeah,
There's worse places to go.
yeah. He could have to play for the Broncos.
Oh, yeah, well.
Nah,
You
the
win
Broncos
Super
are
Bowl.
nice. Yeah, Broncos are nice. I wish they weren't nice, but they are.
I don't even know how they're nice.
Literally.
Oh, we don't need to have this conversation.
Because there's a team named the New York Football Giants that should be better.
No.
And I can't wait until they are.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Next season, I'm putting it right now.
Hmm?
This is on record. Giants win 10 games next season.
Oh gosh.
It's a high bar.
I'm not co-signing that.
They're
I wish I
doubling their
could, but
win
I'm not
total.
gonna do
They're
that.
hitting 8 wins at least. They're doubling the win total next season. I guarantee it.
That's interesting. I'm gonna go 7-9 next season.
Well, 7-10, right?
Or yeah,
17
7-10,
games?
my fault.
Or 8-9.
8-9. No, I'll go 8-9. I'll go
Okay.
8-9.
They're going
okay,
They're doubling the win
okay.
total. They're doubling the win total. Guarantee it.
Right. All right.
One game below 500.
Fine with me.
I'll take it. Oh boy. All
I
right.
feel like John Harbaugh, before we sign out, I feel like John Harbaugh is about to make the greatest draft pick the Giants have had since Odell Beckham Jr.
I don't know about that part, but we'll see what happens. We're trusting in John Harbaugh.
Yeah. Hey, a lot can change with a
Yeah,
head coaching change.
really
man.
can. And to the Grizzlies, please don't trade John Jaren. Don't ruin the whole franchise. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Time for a rebuild.
No, it's not.
It's time
No,
for
it's
a
not.
rebuild.
If they rebuild, they might have to relocate. And nobody's trying to see that either.
Back to Vancouver.
Ew.
Oh my god.
Memphis,
Yeah, well, our
Memphis,
next
baby.
episode will probably be the trade deadline episode, if I had to imagine. So it'll be exciting to see where everybody, if anybody gets traded, where all these.
when
people
is
go.
that?
February 5th is the trade
Ooh,
deadline.
right around the corner.
Oh, right around the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. The Super Bowl's the
Yeah.
8th.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun episode.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, good stuff. Good to talk some ball as always.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, until next time, we'll be seeing you.
Peace.